So what are individual periods actually for? What are we doing with them? Individuals, something you hear a lot, individual periods, indies. What are we actually doing with them? So individual periods are for getting better at your technique. They are not, there's all kinds of things people think individual periods are for. They're specifically for getting better at technique. We work footwork drills during individuals. We do contact drills, specifically how to make contact, not how to crash into each other and scream, "Oh, what a hit. That was awesome." That's not the goal. It is how to make contact, how to strike, how to lift, how to finish. It's not how to kill each other time. Body positioning drills, I think, is a great way to put it. It's how to get your body, especially for blockers, it's how to get your body in the right place, how to get your leverage correct, how to get to the right aiming point, how to get underneath somebody and lift them, how to get your body. We talk about taking away the inside rush lane, how to move your body to the inside rush lane, in between the quarterback and the defender. That's what we're trying to get out of individual periods. What we are not trying to do in individual periods, it is not for conditioning. If you push a sled for 15 minutes, you're doing nothing but wearing your kids out. Sled has a place. Some coaches really love a sled. I'm not one of them. I'm not going to criticize the coaches that use a sled, other than to say if you're walking a sled all over God's creation for 15 minutes, your offensive linemen are doing nothing but getting great conditioning. It's a workout, not an individual period. It has its purpose. It can be used for conditioning. It can be used for a workout, but I don't use the sled much for individuals. It has a purpose in individuals, but most people don't use it that way. Individual periods are not for developing toughness. It's not, your towel pull. It's not your tug of war. Those don't have anything to do with football. You may like them for toughness in general. Up downs may build toughness. They're not an individual period. It is not for walkthrough or play rehearsal either. I do use individual periods for play rehearsal as far as running through against air, but it is not for teaching a scheme. Now, sometimes you may have to use some of your indie periods to teach a new scheme. I'd rather use pre-practice if I have to, but I want to have it, for the most part, done. I want to have teaching periods during the early part of the year. We'll have install periods if we have a new play, but you're not using indie periods to learn a new play very often. That's not what you want to do with it. It's also not walkthrough. We're not going to sit there and say, this is a 3-3 stack. Here's where you go on a 3-3 stack. We're going to be working individual drills. To me, that's a group period, is your walkthrough, your play rehearsal. Team, it is not team. It is not lining up and playing. So it is not, if you've got a ball, if you're in the offensive line and you've got a ball that's having anything done with it other than be snapped, you're probably not at indies. You're probably not. What about competition? A lot of guys like to get competition in during individuals. That's fine. We do board wars. Board wars are a amped up version of block on boards where we do not have a predetermined winner. The goal is to drive the other person off the board. It is to win the board. But you do that. By setting them up. I like to use ball movement for the start of board wars, because that way nobody has an advantage. They can just go on ball movement, and whoever gets the best reaction time off the ball movement can win. So there's a little bit of a defensive element to it there. You could give your snap count to your offensive guys, and your defensive guys have to react on movement too, if you wanted to do that. But basically the idea on board wars is you want to control the space, not have your feet come off the board. So that's a great way to work leverage. And it's a somewhat controlled competition, but it's a type of block on boards where there's no predetermined outcome. Most of the time we have a predetermined outcome. One-on-one pass rush is another example of competition in your individual periods. But that's a one-on-one pass rush, and it's really usually we do it during a group period. We usually do it during 7-on-7 period. But it is a element of individuals to it, so you can work your one-on-one pass rush if you want to do that. Those are your competition deals. Most of our competition is going to come somewhere else. Keys to a successful individual period. Your kids need to know how to execute the drills. Now, they're not going to know how to execute them in August when the season starts, But I see coaches that I want drills. I need drills. I need drills. I need drills. I need drills. What are you doing with all these drills? You know, if you run it one time, it's not fixed, right? It doesn't, the problem isn't solved. Like I see these books of 101 offensive line drills. Well, why? What is wrong with 10 of them? How many things are wrong with your offensive line? Why are if you need 100 drills, I'm just not sure what the concept behind it is. You've got a set of a few drills that you do, and it's not necessarily you do the same drills every day, but let's say that there's maybe 8 to 10 that you do. In a given week, I've got time to do, there's a few drills that I want to do basically every day. So let's say that 15 minutes, let's say I've got 20 minutes 3 days a week. I've got an hour, but 45 minutes of that is going to be the same 3 drills being done 3 times, just for an example. That leaves me with 15 minutes to fill with 3 other drills. So it's a total of 6 drills. If I have 8 to 10 drills total in my bag, it'll take me 2 weeks at least to go through all of those, if not 3, before they come back around. So I'm not executing a million drills. In August, we'll work all those that we're going to use, and occasionally we'll run into a problem that we need to fix and have to come up with a drill for it. But we're not putting in 8,000 drills during the course of the season. Our kids, by the time we're in game week number 1, they know how to execute a drill. We're not spending time teaching it. Explain the tempo for each drill. Explain that this is a teach tempo. We're going to be in a walkthrough pace at first, maybe, and then explain that this is a practice tempo. The defender is giving 70%. He's coming off the ball hard. He's being a good partner, but it is a predetermined outcome. Or this is a competition drill. There's going to be a winner and a loser, and we don't know who it is yet. That's basically our 3 tempos. It's a walkthrough, which is really usually a jog through, or it's a predetermined outcome, 70%, a practice drill, a practice tempo, or it's live. Between reps, run, never walk. Don't let guys walk around to the line because eventually it comes up to you. I don't sit there and lose my mind because one guy walked, but if he's not ready to go, the next time that we come around, I will. And I don't want them walking, especially if they're in the way of the drill. That's when I will lose my mind if they get in the way of the drill. Encourage them to run and enforce it more early in the year. And if you want to let up later in the year, I usually do, as long as we're getting our work done. It's one of those things where we've established the standard. It's not that we're letting up on the standard. It's that a lot of times I'll have older guys who find ways around it. They'll stop and talk to somebody, correct somebody else and things like that. So I'm not going to blow a gasket about it. Have your equipment set up ahead of time as best you can. Have injured guys set your equipment up. I don't have GAs. I doubt you do. You might have great managers. I don't. So I try to at least throw the stuff out there, get it set up as best as possible ahead of time. And be enthusiastic. It is on you to be enthusiastic during individuals. Anyone can be enthusiastic during team. Anyone can be enthusiastic on Friday night. The problem with coaching is there's too many guys who are really enthusiastic on Friday and really piss poor on Tuesday. Your job as a great football coach and a guy who's going to lead a group of offensive linemen who honestly don't get a whole lot to get excited about as far as stats, and nobody's patting them on the back in the halls and things like that. You must be that guy. You must be enthusiastic with them. It doesn't matter if it's the first time or the 1,000th time. It doesn't matter if it's a walkthrough or what. You must be enthusiastic. You must be coaching all the time, and that is going to make you have successful individual periods. What drills do we do during individuals? Well, we do pretty much all of them beyond, short of the group drills. Be consistent. But don't be a slave to your everyday drills. A lot of guys want to know, what are the everyday drills? Well, I don't like that term because we may not need something every day. We may need to do pull drill every day early on in the season, but eventually I've only got 2 guards that are pulling regularly for me, and the other guys still need a little bit of work, but eventually my starters are pretty freaking good at pulling, and they don't need to rep it very often. They can rep it once a week and we're good. And the backups need the work, but I don't need to do it every day later in the season. So I'm not a slave to everyday drills. There's drills that are more important. There's drills that we need to do a lot. And there's drills we need to do a lot early and back off of later. And I'm not going to be stuck thinking I got to do these 4 things. And if I get through them, then I can try to correct this major problem that we're having with another drill. So don't be a slave to everyday drills. Do block on boards nearly every day. I think that's the foundation of blocking. That to me is the basics of blocking. And if you don't do it every day, then it's going to slide away from you. So I think you do need to do that as much as possible. And I think you should invest in those boards if you can at all possible. Group run blocking and pass blocking drills together. What I mean by that is do your, maybe you've got 3 run blocking drills you want to do today in a 25-minute period. Do those 3 run blocking drills, and then the last 10 minutes is 2 pass blocking drills, let's say. So group them between run and pass. Don't try to go back and forth and confuse everybody. You'll go back and forth plenty during your team and things like that. But we group our run and our pass during individuals separately. And time your drills. Don't stay in one place too long. It will get monotonous. You don't have to have 100% perfection before you can move on to the next drill. That's stupid. You're never going to get it. If you're coaching for 100% perfection, you don't understand coaching. You don't understand kids, because they can do it 100% perfect 99 times, and then the 100th one will be wrong because they're kids and they're humans. And I don't know if I say it's because they're kids. I don't know if you or I are any different. So don't sit there for an hour and a half because you want this pull drill to be perfect. Your pull drill will be perfect if you do it every day for 6 weeks. It will be perfect for at least 90% of the guys, and then you don't need to do it every day anymore because the other 10% will never pull for you in a meaningful situation. Problem solved. So time your drills. We do a 5-minute period. We'll actually start early in the year doing 6-minute periods because we know it takes a little longer. Then we'll go to 5, and then late in the season, we'll go to 4-minute periods. That's our way of shortening practice. It's not to take out periods so much, which we will do some of, but we run out of daylight later in the year. And so we'll go from 5-minute to 4-minute periods. And we've gone as short as 3, and we've gone as high as, I don't think we've gone higher than 6, maybe 7 minutes. If I must have everyday drills, so if you really got to know what my everyday drills are, and somebody's going to ask, Coach, if you did have everyday drills, I get these questions all the time. If you did have everyday drills, let's just say, what would they be? Well, they would be block on boards, down block, pull and kick, and pull and wrap. That's one drill for me. It's a 5-minute period. So this is 20 minutes worth of everyday drills. And a mirror drill. If that was all I could do, I would block on boards, down block, pull and kick, pull and wrap, and mirror drill. That would be my everyday drills.